Hi, welcome to this CloudWorld session on Oracle Essbase updates and roadmap. My name is Ashish, and I am a senior product manager here at Oracle within the Autonomous Database Group. My responsibilities include managing the Oracle Essbase product and the data tools feature of the Autonomous Database. Let's go over the agenda for the session today. I will be talking about an overview of Essbase, what it is, where is it used, what are its capabilities, and then we'll talk about the various releases of Essbase that our customers might be running on. And we'll also look at the features of 21C. Post that, we'll have a quick overview of the latest release of Essbase, which is 21.4. We'll have a demonstration of some of the key features in that release. And finally, we'll end up with a roadmap session for, sorry, I missed that. We'll end up with a Essbase roadmap. So let's start with an overview of Essbase. What is Essbase? What are its capabilities and where is it used? We also talk about the latest release of Essbase, which is 21C, its adoption both within Oracle internally and externally with our customers and partners. So what is Essbase? Essbase is a multi-dimensional engine or an OLAP engine. It stores data in multi-dimensional format and is designed for speed of thought analysis. It provides very fast data access and retrieval capabilities. It is a highly efficient aggregate storage engine, which is optimized for aggregations and reporting purposes. It also has a block storage engine that helps in performing complex calculations. Since Essbase organizes the data in a business understandable format while storing the metadata, it provides an intuitive end user experience. It has a powerful rules engine that allows to load data from different data sources, such as flat files, various SQL databases, or even other SaaS applications. Essbase allows users to run complex scenario management use cases via the scenario management workflow capability that is provided out of the box. Users can perform writebacks that allow users to run simulations during what-if analysis. It also has a powerful calculations engine that works with dimensions and hierarchies that can support complex business use cases such as allocations and consolidations. The engine can understand financial notions such as variances and time balance related measures. An example of a time balance measure is an account balance. The ending balance of October is the beginning balance of November, for example. So it understands these kinds of complex aggregations and handles them well. It allows for users to interact with data via a powerful Excel-based SmartView interface through which users can easily slice and dice through the data and navigate the various organizational dimensions and hierarchies. Let's move on and look at where is Essbase used both internally at Oracle and externally within our customer use cases. Our focus for our discussion today is the release 21C. First, let's start with Oracle Fusion Applications or Fusion SaaS. Oracle Fusion Applications are the market leader in providing CRM, ERP, and customer experience capabilities. These Fusion applications leverage the Essbase engine for reporting and analysis purposes. They also run complex calculations for consolidation processes. The general ledger management and project analytics within the ERP systems leverage the calculation capabilities of Essbase. They are one of the largest consumers of Essbase within Oracle. Majority of these Fusion applications or pods have migrated to 21C. Next, let's talk about our EPM applications. These are also one of the large internal consumers of Essbase. EPM applications that run both on the cloud and on-premise leverage the Essbase engine. It is the core engine used for running planning within planning applications on-prem or planning and budgeting cloud services. Financial consolidation within HFM leverages Essbase capabilities. EPM on-prem deployments with 11.2 versions now certify Essbase 21C, starting with the 11.2.8 release. In the future, there are plans to support 21C out of the box for these EPM on-prem deployments. As for the cloud services, EPM SaaS applications are testing 21C, and they should also be migrating to 21C soon. Hence, these large consumers of Essbase within Oracle are on an upgrade path to 21C. From a customer standpoint, Essbase 11G has been the mainstay for Essbase in the last decade. We now have 21C available both on Windows and Linux. So these customers can now migrate to 21C. 11G was used within our engineered systems offering via Exalytics. Majority of the enhancements that were introduced in Exalytics, such as in-memory features, are actually now available to our users in 21C out of the box. Hence, these customers should be able to migrate to 21C on-premise, which we also call as independent deployment. OAC Essbase was first released on the cloud, and our current latest offering on the cloud is Essbase 21C on OCI Marketplace. We already have hundreds of instances running Essbase on OCI via the Marketplace deployment option. Hence, customers can now deploy Essbase on OCI and run custom planning and bespoke analytic and reporting applications on the cloud or for simulations from a planning perspective. Let's talk a little bit about the features and releases. In this section, we talk about the migration paths that are available for our standalone Essbase users that might be on older releases, either on-prem or on the cloud. We also review the timeline for these releases so that you can plan and move to 21C as soon as possible. We will then look at some of the key features of 21C that have been introduced in the last couple of years. So Essbase 21C is the latest version, and users are encouraged or should plan to migrate to 21C. Customers that are running 11G on-prem can migrate to 21C either on-prem on a platform of their choice like Linux or Windows using our LCM utilities, or on the cloud to OCI Marketplace deployment. Essbase 11G is currently on extended support, and it ends in December 2024. So customers that are running 11G on-prem should plan their movement to 21C either on-prem or on the cloud. Customers that are on OAC Essbase, either on the customer managed offering or the Oracle managed version, should plan to move to 21C on the cloud. OAC Essbase is already end of life, and we no longer are offering any new instances of OAC Essbase. Customers that are running on 19C on OCI Marketplace should also plan and move to 21C on OCI Marketplace. Support for 19C ends December 2022. We are providing new features within our next release for easy migration to newer versions of OCI, which you will see later in a demonstration. Premier support for Essbase 21C at this point ends in August 2025. However, we are considering extending this date to a future date. So watch out for an announcement regarding the same very soon. This slide shows a lot of the features that we have introduced in 21C. It's a snapshot of the features that we have introduced. However, let's focus on some of the interesting new capabilities as introduced in 21C versus 11G. There is a lot of stickiness within our customer base with 11G. However, with 21C, we have tried to keep the core capabilities of Essbase available as is while improving the platform. We have introduced a new Java-based platform that allows for adoption of Essbase on the new modern cloud-based architectures. Thus, with this, the Essbase applications can scale easily on the new cloud platforms. One of the key features of Essbase is the openness and API-driven culture that has helped Essbase thrive through these years, and wider adoption among customers and our partner communities. We continue to do so by providing REST APIs for building custom analytic applications. We have also invested heavily in improving the core engine with capabilities introduced in the hybrid engine. The hybrid query engine, with its patented technology for dependency analysis, helps improve performance. With full dependency analysis, all dependent data in a dynamic query is analyzed and brought to the memory in a single disk fetch. This helps in improving the performance. In our internal tests, we have seen close to 10 times improvement of performance. This feature is supported both for ASO and BSO applications. Variable security filters allow for dynamically assigning filters for users and groups on applications. Earlier, with 11G, customers would have to write hundreds of lines of code for security filter that would be handled for each user. Now, with the variable security filters, these have been brought down to just a few lines of assigning these filtering capabilities. Improvements have been made to drill through, such as the ability to perform multi-cell drill through and recursive drill through. We have improved integration with our third-party tools, such as OAC, as well as Tableau. So all in all, we are leveraging the latest capabilities of cloud technology and improving the engine with 21C. Moving on, one of the key features that was introduced in 21C, specifically the 21.2 release of Essbase on OCI Marketplace, we improved the integration with the autonomous database. That is a key investment area for us. This feature is called the Federated Partitions. Here is an architecture diagram on how this is set up on OCI. This feature does not need to have the storage of data within Essbase. We can actually keep the data in the source system, which is the autonomous database. This allows us to leverage the power of the database engine for faster aggregation and a better storage capabilities. Users first can create an Essbase application and define their business dimensions and hierarchies in what we call the outline. These outlines can also house the calculations within themselves. Once the application is created, users can identify a fact table in the autonomous database that maps the dimensions and the measures with the outline. While defining a federated partition, analytic views are created in the database that provide an in-database definition of these business hierarchies. When the end users query these Essbase application via OAC Essbase or a third-party tool like Excel using SmartView, the aggregations are pushed to the autonomous database while leveraging the powerful calculation capabilities of the Essbase engine. Currently, with our current release of Essbase, this integration, we have certain limitations, and our goal is to eliminate these in the subsequent releases and open up this solution for our existing Essbase customers as well as the new database users. So what are the benefits of this new capability for our users? We have segregated the benefits into two use cases. One, the benefits for our Essbase users, and the other, the benefits for our database user or the autonomous database users. Existing Essbase users will benefit by the reduced latency in terms of not having to load the data into Essbase. Since the data is now residing directly in the source system, which is the autonomous database. Customers also do not have to worry about expensive restructuring of these outlines during incremental data loads into Essbase that they face currently. Users can leverage the optimized in-memory aggregation capabilities of the autonomous database as well. Since the storage is now moved to the database, Essbase can now support large data sets in the range of terabytes. So that kind of sums up some of the benefits that our Essbase users get. From a database user perspective, they now get a powerful calculation engine that represents data in a business understandable form. With the expressiveness of an Essbase outline, users can easily perform analysis of data that is stored in a relational format in these tables. Essbase can handle financial use cases as we discussed earlier. So it can also handle time balance related aggregations as well. With the write back capability, Essbase users can run what if simulations as we discussed earlier, but now with the data directly residing in the autonomous database. Users can also leverage the intuitive Smart View interface using Excel to query data that resides in a relational structure very easily. They can easily navigate the business hierarchies in a familiar Excel interface. Hence, with this new feature, both the existing Essbase user as well as the new database users should be able to benefit from the release of federated partitions. Moving on, let's talk a little bit about the latest release, which is 21.4, the new features that we have introduced and its capabilities, followed by a quick demonstration of those features. So the first feature is a feature that allows our existing OCI marketplace users to be easily able to upgrade to the latest release. Users do not have to download patches from MOS and apply them manually. They can leverage the new listing features to directly upgrade their instance to the latest version. Many customers want the ability to track various events such as login, logout, or assignment of roles to the various users. They are also wanting to track the migration of artifacts, data load times, etc. for compliance purposes. For this purpose, we have introduced a new audit log capability that allows users to track these events in a log file, which can then be later on reported. The third feature is about the object store integration. With most of the data now stored in an object store locations with data lakes, users are increasingly finding the need to load data from object stores. In the latest release, we have added the ability to house the Essbase catalog and folder in an object store. With this, users can now directly load data from an object store location, for example. We've also introduced UI enhancements for users that define drill-through regions with an intuitive user interface. Users can now choose members and formula from an outline to define their drill-through regions. Additionally, we have also introduced the ability to execute drill-through reports via REST APIs. Let's have a quick look at these features in the next following demonstrations.
Here is a new feature that allows an existing OCI marketplace user to upgrade their instance to the latest version without having to run any OPatch process. This is a listing specific change. So when you launch the OCI marketplace listing, an option is available for you to upgrade an existing image. Once you make that selection, You can provide details about the update configuration. Here, we have the ability to upgrade from either 19C or 21C. The specific versions that are supported are shown here. So once you make the selection, for example, I have chosen 21C here. All the instances that are running 21C within that tenancy in the compartment are listed here that you can upgrade. Choose an instance that you want to upgrade. Once you choose that instance, you have to capture certain metadata which is required for the upgrade process. A command is provided here and documented in the documentation as well. Run that command on the existing Essbase instance, capture the metadata, and provide it in the box here. If the database admin password has changed, then create a vault security key for that and provide the OSID. Click Next, review the selections that you have made and execute. Once the listing process completes and execution completes, a new Essbase instance with a new IP address is created. You can now launch that instance and see that all the existing applications from the older instance are available in the new instance and have been upgraded to the latest version. We see here that the instance is upgraded to the latest version 21.4. When you navigate to the OCI console, you see that the old instance is now stopped. It is still available, so you can start and actually use that as well. And the new instance is running. So now you have the upgraded instance up and running. Thank you. Feature introduced for tracking various events on Essbase server. This new property is called security for the audit trail configuration setting. Once you set up this property, restart the services. A new log file is created in this location called security_audit.log. This is a CSV file at this point which tracks the various events that are performed on the server. So for example, you see these are the various types of events that are tracked. Along with that, you get additional details. So for example, for executing Maxell, you can identify the user, the time it was run, what was the Maxell statement, and such details which could be required for compliance purposes. Reporting can be done from this file as well. So we look at the object store support in OCI Marketplace. On the listing, the users have an option to choose the storage type. Here they can choose local file system or object storage. Once you make the selection, you review and deploy the stack. Once the stack deployment is succeeded, navigate to the application information tab and you will see the catalog object store bucket that has been created for storage. This is the OCI console where we actually see the object store bucket. We see there are two folders here. Navigate to Essbase, log into the UI, look at the shared and the user folders in the file section. So the same two folders are available in the object store bucket as well. So now users can leverage either OCI SDK or via UI, they can directly upload the files onto the object store. So the file has been uploaded here. That same file will now be visible in the Essbase UI as well. So once this file has been loaded, it's visible to the Essbase and it can be used, for example, in data load or any other operations in Essbase. Thanks. Let's look at some of the improvements done for drill through. The first one that we'll see is a change in the way how you define drillable regions when defining a drill through report. So here we have a sample drill through report, and while defining a drillable region, earlier users would have to type the entire drillable region by hand. But now the users can navigate through the outline to define their drillable regions. As an example, you can choose any member from the outline, right click on it, and choose what formula for the drillable region has to be applied and simply select it. Formula gets added to the drillable region. So this is the first enhancement that we have provided. The second enhancement is while executing the drill through report. So normally a user would leverage Smart View to execute a drill through report. For example, the same drill through application, I have a drill through report defined here. Can double click here to get the result of the drill through report. In 21.4, we are providing a REST API method of executing the same drill through report. So in this example, I'm using a REST API call to get a drill through report from this intersection, which I just executed. Execute the same via REST API by using this URL and providing this payload, JSON payload, to indicate what intersection I'm drilling through from. Once I do that, I can now execute the report. The output format is a JSON format, which the users can now parse and get the result as well. So these are the enhancements that have been provided for drill through report.
All right, so we just looked at the demonstration of the latest features of 21.4. Now let's talk a little bit about the roadmap. First, we'll talk about a timeline of how we have done with 21C release over the last couple of years. We look at the key milestones achieved in the 21C release. And then we'll take a look at the roadmap for Essbase and some of the key features that we plan to release in the future in the financial year. Here we see an overview of various releases of Essbase. We introduced Essbase on OCI Marketplace with 19C in 2019. December 2020 saw the first release of Essbase on-prem with 21C on Linux. Feb 2021 was the release of Essbase 21C on OCI Marketplace. June 2021, we saw the integration of Essbase with the autonomous database via the Federated Partitions. In December 2021, we released Essbase 21C with support on the Windows platform. And then in the first half of 2022, we released a couple of RURs for our existing on-prem customers that are adopting to 21C. We introduced a lot of features in those releases as well. So as you can see, actually in September, we just released 21.4. So, we saw the demonstration of those features as well. As you can see, we have been very busy for the last couple of years, enabling our existing users of Essbase, both on the cloud like OAC or 19C, or 11G on-prem to move to 21C. While doing this, we have introduced a lot of new features to ensure that the migration to 21C is smooth. As for the future, in FY23, our plan is to continue this momentum, and improve the integration with autonomous database, like providing the ability to execute calc scripts, which is a limitation that we have today. We also want to focus on improving the performance while running these federated partitions on the autonomous database. We also plan to provide OCI IAM integration for our OCI marketplace deployments. This is the new direction that the OCI is headed. We also want to improve the overall user experience and introduce more capabilities to manage outlines, such as compare outlines, etc. The overall goal is better integration with autonomous database on OCI, ease of migration of our existing users of Essbase to the latest version, which is 21C, and better experience while interacting with the product with latest tools and improvements and enhancements on the UI. So with that, I would like to thank you for attending this session on an Essbase update and roadmap at CloudWorld. If you have any questions, reach out to me on the email provided. Thank you so much.